Thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA. I am Bintu Aliyu Sumono. We start now with legislative matters as the Senate is to investigate the remote and immediate causes of the recent pipeline explosion in Osisioma local government area of Abia State that killed about 150 persons. This is sequel to a motion moved by Senator Theodore Oji, which also called on the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to the affected community, while the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and the Pipelines and Product Marketing Company should commence immediate repairs on the pipelines. The Senate is to also investigate alleged illicit and excessive charges on the use of automated teller machine ATM by banks and urge the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend the ATM care maintenance charges till the investigation is concluded. In the meantime, the Senate has approved this request of President Muhammadu Buhari for the implementation of a new external capital raising of $2.786 billion from the international capital market approved in the 2018 budget. Still talking Senate, the Senate is to investigate the management of the 3.5 billion naira subsidy recovery fund by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkot reports.
Senate Minority Leader Biodun Olujimi rose on the matter of urgent national importance to move that the Senate do investigate the subsidy recovery fund.
The $3.5 billion is being managed by just two individuals of the NNPC. And this fund is too huge to be managed without appropriation.
The Senate leader and other members of the Senate should look at this thing objectively, as you said, as a non-partisan basis.
The investigation will be carried out by an ad hoc committee. The legislators confirmed the nomination of Abba Ali and Mohammed Sagir as non-legal members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission, as presented by Senator David Umaru, Chairman, Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. Meanwhile, the Senate has condemned the killing of a Red Cross official, Hawa Liman, by insurgents in a motion of urgent national importance moved by Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu.
Decides to help humanity with their time and their expertise. We owe them the responsibility of protecting them while they do this work, and now that they are dead, we also owe them more responsibility of making sure that they are not dying in vain.
The life of a glooming young woman have just been unceremoniously terminated.
The security agencies have done very well in dealing with them. Let them know rest of their hours, let them be up and doing.
We extend condolence to the families of deceased and the international community in which one of the deceased served. Those in favor of prayer to say aye. Those against say nay. As have it.
The legislators observed 2-minute silence in honor of the late health worker. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkot, NTA News.
Still remaining with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is working on a legislation that would ensure uniformity and instill public confidence on settlements and payments in the banking sector. To this end, the House paid and passed a second reading a bill for an act to provide for the management, administration, operation, regulation, and supervision of payments, clearing and settlement systems in Nigeria, sponsored by Representative Jones Onyerere. Also passed at the second reading.
Favor of the policy. Words are now matched with action, as no fewer than 50 high-profile persons are on watch list and restricted from traveling out of the country pending the determination of their cases.
They are already in trial, and the courts have said, hold on to this property pending when this trial is over. It's the courts. They have the last say.
There are again cries and complaints in certain quarters by those who see the policy as a witch hunt or wrong timing.
You don't want corruption. I said that when somebody is fighting, you say, well, it's because they are opponent. Oh, it's because election is coming. If he didn't do it before, they are accusing him of AB. Because I remember all the work we did to ensure that at the beginning that there was naming and shaming. Just at the 11th hour, some people prevail on the president. And the naming and shaming, technique went out the window.
For me, this is my own opinion. It doesn't matter where you start, as long as you're not going after an innocent person.
For others, the Executive Order 6 is one that should be celebrated in fast-tracking investment.
We have to fight corruption. If we do not fight corruption, there will be no direct foreign investment. And I can tell you that since the coming into power of President Buhari, a lot of investors have come into the country because of the fight against corruption.
The consensus is that the fight against corruption is a collective one in building a better Nigeria. Talat Ezerike, NTA News.
Let's turn to politics now. Zamfara State High Court has issued an interim order restraining All Progressive Congress APC and INEC from disqualifying candidates in the 2019 elections in the state. Halir Muhammad reports.
Justice Mukhtar Yushau gave the order following a suit filed by the executive members of the party in the state. In the suit, plaintiffs are challenging the powers of the national leadership of the All Progressives Congress to cancel the election conducted on the 3rd of October 2018 and disqualify the candidates from contesting various elective positions in the 2019 general elections. The plaintiffs filed the application on behalf of 24 other candidates on the 8th of October this year through their counsel Muhammad Sani Katu. In his ruling, Justice Yushau issued an order of interim injunction saying the APC, its Northwest Zonal Chairman and INEC to maintain the status quo as at the time the plaintiffs filed the suit. The counsels to both the plaintiffs and the defendants speak.
What we are challenging in that suit, the substantive suit, is they must recognize the results of the primaries held by APC Zamfara State chapter from the 3rd to the 7th of October.
We have not filed our statement of defense, we have not filed our counter affidavit to the processes filed by the plaintiff. So, and we are within time. The court has not gone into the substance of the action, but an application was made, which was in the interest to maintain the status quo.
The case has been adjourned to the 23rd of October this year for hearing to enable the defendants file their responses to the motion on notice before the court. In Gusau, Halir Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
And as the political stage heats up for the 2019 elections, officers and men of Kogi State Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps are being trained to mitigate violence during and after the conduct of the elections. Francis Odojo reports.
The program, which had various heads of security agencies, provided opportunity for the stakeholders to brainstorm and chart a way forward on how best they can achieve success in the conduct of the 2019 general election. Discussions centered on the role of security agencies. INEC Kogi State, Mohammed Abubakar Siddiq said, on the part of INEC, necessary measures have been taken for positive results in the 2019 elections as sensitization of voters will continue.
We will continue to mobilize and sensitize the voters.
Other stakeholders took turn to assure Nigerians of their readiness to ensure the rules of engagements are maintained in elections. The event, which also featured interactive session, the organizers say will continue to create more avenues for stakeholders to do the needful before the 2019 elections. In Lokoja, Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Thank you, Francis. Now let's join Dotun in Lagos for more stories on Nationwide. Over to you, Dotun.
Thank you, Bintu, and welcome to Lagos. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned one Abiola Kayode Malik and Mika Resources Nigeria before Justice Chuka Obiozo of the Federal High Court, sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, on a 4-count charge of money laundering, impersonation, and cybercrime. Abolore Ogbara reports on the court proceedings.
The defendant was first arraigned in July this year, which there was a discussion for a plea began. However, at the rearrangement on Wednesday in Lagos, the defendant, Abiola Kayode Malik, was charged for retaining the sum of 17.84 million naira in his Zenith bank account on the 9th of April 2018, which the court considered as part of the proceeds from an unlawful act obtained by false pretense and thereby committing an offense contrary to Section 15, subsection 2 of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and punishable under Section 15, subsection 3 of the same act. The accused, between the 18th day of December 2014 and 4th day of April 2018, also took possession of the sum of 143,021,925 naira 36 kobo in his Zenith bank account, which the Honorable Court regarded as an unlawful act. In 2017, the defendant was also accused of acquiring a Mercedes-Benz C300 2015 model valued at 14 million naira. The court said the property forms part of the proceeds of an unlawful act obtained by false pretense. In 2018, the accused also impersonated one Daniel Dwayne, a name he used for his social media account, and thereby committing an offense contrary to Section 22, subsection 3A of the Cyber Crimes Act 2015 and punishable under Section 22, subsection 4 of the same act. The accused person pleaded not guilty to 4-count charge. Counsel to the accused person made the application for bail, but the prosecution counsel, Zainab Eti, requested that the accused be remanded in prison until the next hearing, Monday the 22nd of October. It will be recalled that the country's Anti-Graft Commission, the EFCC, in June this year categorized cybercrimes as the latest form of terrorism and corruption. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
The Lagos State government has reiterated its commitment to providing qualitative entrepreneurship training for students across tertiary institutions in the state through its Ready, Set, Work program. Governor Akinwumi Ambode made the pledge at the final stage of the business pitch competition and global challenge of the Ready, Set, Work at the Lagos State University in Ojo. Nosa Osula reports.
Ready, Set, Work is an employability and entrepreneurship training initiative of Governor Akinwumi Ambode, which has been described as the most needed tool for graduates to excel in their chosen professions and careers. The governor, who was represented by the Special Advisor on Education, Obafela Bank Ulemo, explained that the initiative is part of the state government's vision to ensure that undergraduates gain global exposure and enhance their employability.
The reason they went through this program was because they were privileged to school in Lagos. Lagos State is the only state in Nigeria that has a program like this.
Some of the participating students comment.
My business is about snail. What we do is to sell snails. We have it in varieties. We have frozen, we have oven-dried snails. We also have fresh one, depending on how you want it. And also, we recycle the snail waste. For instance, the snail shell into a calcium powder and the snail water for health purposes.
These eggs are capable of managing diabetes, anemia, high blood pressure, gastric ulcer, even sexual potency. and it's originated from China and Japan. And as we all know, the Chinese don't really use orthodox medicine.
The only solution to the problem is the addition of silicone toe guard, because when the silicone toe guard is being added to the shoe, it helps those who have sensitive skin between their toes and that chaps easily.
5,000 students participated in the competition. 3 teams were in the Global Challenge Finals, in which Lagos
with the theme Clean Hands, a Recipe for Health.
Statistics show that about 60,000 children under the age of 5 die annually in Nigeria as a result of diarrhea and other diseases linked to poor hygiene practices, which include non-washing of hands. UNICEF also reveals that only 33.6% of health facilities in Nigeria have hand-washing equipment for both patients and staff. These scary figures and more are the reasons why the Global Hand Washing Day is used to create awareness on the importance of hand washing with soap and water before and after meals, after using the toilet, and the day's job, among other factors.
Hand washing prevents as much as 60 to 90% of diseases that are easily communicable.
A lot of kids don't get to the age of 5, and the idea is we've got to start to teach people from a young age.
How often do Nigerians wash their hands with soap and water?
Not all the times. You know the season, work environment and some other things.
I wash my hands regularly. Hand washing culture received a boost in Nigeria when Ebola came into the country in 2014. The culture faded away as Ebola was defeated.
It is very important to wash the hands all the time so that, because these are hands can harbor germs, and when they put it in the mouth, it will become sickness. It will form sickness in their body.
Embracing hand washing with soap and water is one of the effective and inexpensive ways of preventing diseases and reducing deaths. Prevention, they say, is better than cure. In Lagos, Hinkino John Adams, NTA News.
Felicia is in the teen city Jos to bring us up to speed on happenings in that zone.
Governor Simon Lalong has assured the people of his administration's commitment to do everything within its powers to safeguard citizens from any human rights violation. The governor gave this assurance when he received the executive secretary of the National Human Rights Commission at the Government House, Little Rayfield. Priscilla Grumnan reports.
The Executive Secretary, Mr. Anthony Ojukwu, who led other management staff of the Commission, said the team is in Plateau State to condole the government and people over the unfortunate disturbances in the state. He added that as part of the Commission's mandate to investigate possible human rights abuses during crisis situations, the Commission is in the state to ensure there are no cases of human rights violations.
I'm giving you our support. We keep going around the communities to tell them on the beauties of peaceful coexistence, because without peaceful coexistence, development is difficult.
The governor said despite the recent security challenges facing the state, Plateau State remains one of the most peaceful states in the country. He reassured of an all-inclusive governance and stressed that no criminal elements will have a hiding place under his watch.
We will maintain exclusive governance, not only people of Plateau State, but all ethnic nationalities in this state are all involved in this government.
The governor further appealed to the commission to avail the state government with the report of findings that will help the state forge ahead. In Jos, Priscilla Grumnan, NTA News.
To boost internally generated revenue and put the state on the path of economic development, Plateau State government is collaborating with the federal ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, operating in the state to streamline modalities for the collection and remittance of all revenues accruable to the state from the federal establishments. This is following the report of non-remittance of over 11 billion naira owed the state from 2005 to 2013. Kim Godds completes the reports.
The importance of tax revenue cannot be overemphasized, as the interactive conference is to ensure that all taxes due to Plateau State from federal government agencies are promptly remitted. Governor Samuel Lalong, represented by the Commissioner of Finance, said in view of the dwindling revenue accruing to the state from the monthly federation allocation due to the fall in international crude oil, tax stakeholders must ensure immediate remittance of all taxes to the state.
There is no better time than now for the federal government to come to the rescue of the state from the impunity of these tax evaders.
It is the responsibility of those individuals to pay those taxes to the government, because the government needs that money to provide services to the individual, to the citizens of the state.
This effort was aimed at recovering all outstanding tax liabilities against the federal ministries, department, and agencies owned to Plateau State Internal Revenue Service between 2005 to 2013.
The conference is to further sensitize NTAs and taxpayers to be deeply involved in tax administration. In Jos, Kim Goetz, NTA News.
That's our package from Jos, still on Nationwide with news after the break.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism as well as the rising...
Brought to you by NTA.
For years, the NTA has been promoting science, technology, arts and crafts under the tagged name National Children's Expo. We are set with another edition as we gather children around Nigeria, junior category ages 6 to 12 and senior category ages 13 to 18. The theme for Expo 2018, achieving self-sufficiency in agriculture, meeting the challenges of security and exposition of alternative energy as pathways to national development. Date, October 21st to 25th, 2018. Venue, NTA Headquarters Arena, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. We are set to celebrate the best of innovation across the country. NTA ETV, promoting learning.
Can you write? First Entertainment Ideas Concept, in conjunction with National Commission for Museum and Monuments, presents Latin America Motorcycle Association Rediscover Nigeria Tour. Touring Nigerian Museum and Heritage Sites in 13 states and 13 days from the 23rd of October 2018. Chief Host, Honorable Minister for Information, Arts and Culture, Lai Mohammed. For sponsorship details, call Ernest on 090-3456-4388. Godwin 080-3701-5237. Uzoma 080-2980-0549. Salong 080-3225-0153. Umo 080-9440-9719. Lama, touring to rediscover.
EA Nigeria, a citizen participatory program, will soon be on your screen. It will transmit Mondays to Thursdays by 6 p.m. on NTA Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba channels, and NTA Entertainment, all on NTA Star TV network. EA Nigeria seeks to promote the appreciation of our indigenous languages, citizen civic responsibility, nationalism, and capacity building. It also helps to address misrepresentation of our national symbols. EA Nigeria is a live phone-in TV program, so you can join in the conversation. For sponsorship and participation, please contact these numbers. EA Nigeria, promoting culture and national values.
Thank you for staying tuned to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Now, Chairman of the Rapid Response Committee and Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Sonny Echenu, has directed all governing boards and rectors of polytechnics where perceived union members were victimized to immediately reverse the decision. The directive was part of measures taken at a meeting with the committee and leadership of Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, which gave government 3 weeks ultimatum to address its challenges, one of which is the victimization of members or embark on industrial action. Echenu, who described the meeting as fruitful, explains further that other decisions taken in addressing the union grievances.
And we are acting on this instruction. On the non-release of Counties 15 migration, we have received assurances from the Minister of Finance and Accountant General's office that a number of steps will be taken quickly to ensure that we put this behind us by December this year.
Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports that ASUP President Usman Duzi promised to convey the government's decision on the National Working Committee of the Union and report back to government soonest. The union had given government up to 27th of this month to address its challenges or its downs too. Now, the Niger Basin Authority, NBA, has listed the Program for Integrated Development and Adaptation to Climate Change in the basin as one of the 3 priority projects to be executed in 2019. This was revealed at the 37th Ordinary Session of the Council of Ministers Expert Technical Committee meeting in Abuja. Musbah Danghab reports.
Niger Basin Authority, NBA, is concerned with the welfare of the people dependent on River Niger across 9 member states of Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, and Chad Republic. The socio-economic life of more than 130 million people in the riparian communities is being threatened due to several environmental challenges, including climate change. Chairman, NBA Council of Ministers and Nigeria's Water Resources Minister, Suleiman Adamu, represented believes the basin is as important of each member country's natural resources. Also, of priority for discussion is the sourcing of funds for the construction of the NBA headquarters. This session is preparatory to the Council of Ministers meeting scheduled for Friday. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Moving on now, agriculture makes up a sizable portion of economic activity in Nigeria and remains the national single largest sector with crop production of about 90% output. But the distribution chain for agri products is a challenge. That is why the Stakeholders Forum is aimed at addressing the current exploitative marketing practices for agricultural commodities at the nation's farm gates. Ifeanyi Ezumba has details.
Tree's agricultural potential is evidenced by the capacity to produce and export over 95 value-added agricultural commodities across Nigeria, thanks to the economic diversification drive of the federal government, which seeks, amongst other things, to develop the non-oil sector by boosting production. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, pointed out that with the renewed efforts, agriculture is increasingly taking a center stage.
More recently, the Agricultural Promotion Policy, APP, Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, among other initiatives, are already in place with the aim to addressing food production shortage.
Farm gate prices are a situation where farmers are made to sell their produce immediately after the harvest in response to their cash needs.
At the technical session, participants emphasized the need for farmers to have access to farm products.
But it is high time we get a way that we operate
without being superimposed upon by foreigners.
We are also hoping that very soon Bank of Agri will be recapitalized.
The theme of the forum is Right Farm Gate Price for Agricultural Commodities in Nigeria, a panacea to ensure job security for the teeming population, especially women and youth. In Abuja, Ifani Izumba, NTA News.
Now, to achieve food security in Nigeria, funding of agricultural research institutions and agricultural education must be given priority from the grassroots levels. This was the views of experts on NTA Good Morning Nigeria. Patricia Esami Lumba reports.
From the outset, successive administrations have instituted various projects targeted at addressing food security in Nigeria. At different fora, experts have identified flood, population growth, lack of mechanization, poor transportation system, rainfall pattern as factors affecting food security. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria emphasized those factors, but also added capacity building and training of farmers.
We need to maintain consistent education of our farming populace and sustain this issue of our awareness that insecurity in food supply can create a destabilizing role in our polity and checkmate our growth.
I will always say that food is something that we should not politicize. Like we made reference to it. I mean, it's fundamental for national security.
They commend the presidential fertilizer initiative of the present administration introduced to improve access to food security.
From the Northeast, I'm happy there are some very interesting news. Most of the IDPs that we are always talking about have gone back to their lands. Some have done substantial farming, most especially in Yobe State, where no IDP camp exists presently, and then all of them are back to their lands. They are all gone back to the farm with plenty of good news of harvest, etc.
Sectors are opening and making available to farmers. So we believe that in time, with the right kind of push, and if this tempo continues, we'll be able to sustainably provide food security for Nigerians.
To accelerate progress towards zero hunger by 2030, the guest, however, suggests that government should support farmers with some form of capital to boost the farming sector. In Abuja, Patricia Esami Luba, NTA News.
The federal government has approved the issuance of $2.9 billion in Eurobonds and other securities from the international capital market. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, who announced the approval while briefing journalists after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council, said this is to enable the implementation of the external borrowing plan provided for in the 2018 Appropriation Act towards funding capital projects. More reactions trail nomination of Peter Obi as running mate.
Enugu State government has directed all MDAs and government institutions to ensure they remit their taxes as at when due to the Federal Inland Revenue Services, as taxes are no more acceptable to both the state and its MDA and agencies. Commissioner for Enugu Capital Territory, Chidi Aru, stated this while briefing journalists on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting held at Government House, Enugu. Ijoma Weke has the details.
Mr. Arrow, who stood in for the Commissioner for Information, said the state government directed the Board of Internal Revenue to go into negotiation with the Federal Inland Revenue Service with the aim of resolving all outstanding liabilities of the state government in ministries, departments and agencies with the Federal Inland Revenue Services.
Indeed, the first part of this work had been done, and by negotiation between the state government and the Federal Inland Revenue Services, the total exposure of the state government to Federal Inland Revenue Services was totaled at 547,680,877 naira 11 kobo. There is efforts to reach a mutual agreement in which the state will liquidate this in 18 months.
The Executive Council approved 50% discount in all accrued land Enugu to enable debtors pay honor before 31st December 2018. The commissioner said the land use charge law passed this year consolidates all payments to be made by property owners in the state. Also approved is the extension of CSDP project to the 9 local government areas yet to benefit from the World Bank project. Due to the performance of new map and ramp in the state, State Executive Council approved the commencement of procurement process and award of contract to sustain access to rural populace. In Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
The ban on spraying of money across Nigeria has been eliciting reactions from members of the public. Although they lauded the initiative, some people are, however, skeptical about the implementation. Beauty Ehobamie has more on this.
The Nigerian Apex Bank CBN, through its spokesperson Isaac Okorafor, has warned that anybody caught spraying money at parties would face the risk of going to jail or pay the 50,000 naira or both. The new directive is that a mobile court has been set up to summarily try offenders. The police and the Ministry of Justice have been enlisted in the operation. How feasible is the directive?
It will be difficult in Nigeria. It will be very difficult because they cannot compare what is happening overseas to what is happening in Nigeria. We have a peculiar culture that if you don't spray money in an occasion, that occasion is not complete. The directive that we should not be spraying naira in our parties is a good idea, but I don't know how we can manage it.
This is not the first time the CBN will come up with such policy without success. Another disturbing aspect of the spraying of money at ceremonies is the fact that as the money literally disappears from commercial banks, they find their way into the hands of hawkers who either display them by the roadside or at ceremonies. An action the CBN says is an abuse of the manner in which the nation's currency is being handled has been a source of concern to the Apex Bank, necessitating the new directive, which leaves observers wondering how the policy will work or when it is going to take effect, as no sensitization is ongoing at present. In Enugu, Beauty Ehobamie, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Enugu. Let's now join Sokoto, where Asmao is standing by.
Thank you, Bright. Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. Paddy rice farmers in Sokoto State have lost farm produce worth over 77 billion naira to flood. The farmers disclosed this during an assessment visit by officials of Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria and other stakeholders to Wurno and Gorenyo local governments. Aminu Bello Kaoji completes the story.
The officials of Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders visited Wurno and Falalia irrigation scheme Gorenyo and Fadama site at Wamoko. At all the irrigation scheme visited, flood had destroyed the rice planted for this year's wet season. As a result of the flood, the hope of many farmers were dashed. They told the visiting officials that they have lost rice worth over 27 billion naira to the flood. The 18,000 affected farmers appealed to federal government to come to their aid. Sokoto State Chairman, Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Ibrahim Salihu said more than 27,000 paddy rice farmers were given loan by the federal government to enable them engage in this year's wet season farming. He, however, regretted how flood had ravaged and destroyed 85% of the total production of the farmers.
This is quite devastating, and this has cost our farmers and in fact the entire nation a great loss in terms of this federal government's drive in rice production.
The farmers were only able to harvest 15% of what they
over their compulsory retirement by the Sokoto State government in August this year. Counsel to the claimants, Barrister Shehu M. Jodi, told the court that the first claimant was present in court while the second was absent due to ill health. Counsel to the defendant and the former Attorney General of Sokoto State, Suleiman Usman SAN, prayed the court to adjourn hearing of the case to enable him prepare a written address on the matter. The presiding judge, Justice Kia Short Damulak Das, drew the attention of the defendant's counsel that he did not file any process on the case, which the counsel said he need more time to do. After counter-arguments on the matter, the presiding judge, Justice Kia Short Damulak Das, adjourned the case to Wednesday, 24th of October 2018 for hearing. Also adjourned for hearing on the same date the case filed by the former commandant of the Sokoto Marshals, retired Commissioner of Police Saidu Madawaki, challenging his dismissal in August 2018 by the state government. Counsel to the claimant, Barrister Shehu M. Jodi, said he was ready for the commencement of hearing, while the defendant's counsel, Suleiman Usman, SAN, prayed for time to prepare written address, which was granted by the court. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's our package from Sokoto. The news will continue with Bintu in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Come again when we all gather at the Unity Forum to celebrate the uniqueness of our cultural diversity and showcase the beauty of our cultural creativity and ingenuity. It's the National Festival of Arts and Culture, NAFEST, in the Garden City of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Come, let's celebrate our culture and heritage. Hold it 20th to 27th October 2018. Special features, dance drama, traditional wrestling, indigenous textiles and cuisine, arts and crafts exhibition, entrepreneurship roundtable, skills acquisition, and many more. 20th to 27th October 2018. Be a part of history. It's NAFEST Rivers 2018, the festival that unites the nation. Otumba Olusegun Runshewe, DG National Council for Arts and Culture, announced.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks. So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Agenda 2030. As a successor framework for the Millennium Development Goals, the global community rolled out a bigger, deeper, and more encompassing framework called the Sustainable Development Goals, designed to transform our world, lift the poor out of poverty, as well as ensure inclusive and healthy society. On Agenda 2030, we take you on a media trip to the global destination of the future we want. With everyone on board, we focus on the people and their struggle, the civil society and their agitations, the government and her development effort, the Global Development Agenda, its 17 goals and 169 targets. We bring you all the deliberations, insightful conversations, and high-level partnerships on the road to global destination. Agenda 2030, showing on this channel. Agenda 2030, leaving no one behind.
Yeah, Modena. Mode! Do you have Yamala? Yes. And Abula? Yes, sir. Black or white? Yamala. Have I ever eaten white Amala here before? Yes, sir. Give me Amala and Abula. Do you have Dodo? Dodo ground. Good. Let me have some Dodo. I want you to put the meat in a bowl. Shaki, suku, abodi. I like my edo to be very tender. You have stockfish? Yes, sir. Good. Let's have some stockfish. And the catfish, my favorite. Don't mind them. Grab eggs. I would like 6 boiled eggs. No eggs. Okay, the catfish will do. And then rice. Rice and then some salad. Look. Do you have a kuru?
It's good to know that you're still tuned to Nationwide, and thank you for doing that. Now, Commander, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Federal Capital Territory, Chinyere Obijuru, has urged Nigerians to extend the message about the harmful effects of illegal drug business across the country. The commander made this known at a press briefing on the special operation by the FCT Command. Chidinma Anson reports.
Addressing the press, the FCT Commander, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Chinyere Obijuru, says the briefing is an integral part of the just concluded
Dauda Elisha, Abubakar Audu, and Mohammed Adamu. They have all been charged to court.
She used the forum to express her appreciation to the FCT Minister for his passionate commitment to the command. Some of the suspects confessed to the crime, including one who claimed to be a youth corps member. She, however, appealed to the members of the public to assist the agency with useful information on drug activities. Chidinma Anson Agomo, NTA News.
Moving on now, the menace of substance use disorder record shows has eaten deep into the productivity sector of the economy as it directly affects youth. To say no to this menace, the Army Medical Directorate is organizing a workshop on prevention of drugs and substance abuse among barrack youths. Basi Taikban reports.
And youth on the adverse consequences of drug abuse.
Saying no to drug abuse is the reason for this gathering of barrack youths from Mogadishu cantonment in Abuja.
We organized it to educate and sensitize youth in